Good morning all, it's Mrs Sims here. I'm coming to you today to talk to you about grief, loss and death in this assembly, and the reason for that is because this week is Dying Matters Awareness Week. Dying Matters is an organisation that helps us to know that it's okay to grieve and to deal with the loss of a loved one, and most importantly to talk about it. Their main focus this time round is dying to be heard, and the reason for that is because they really want to put an emphasis on talking about the loss that we are feeling, particularly at times like we're in at the moment where you can't see people and you can't go and have contact with people and let them see that you're really struggling. It's important that you talk about it, and when you talk you need someone to listen. So we're having to have a think about what it means to be a good listener for our friends. The biggest piece of advice I can give you is to be patient. Your loved ones might not want to talk about it straight away, but they equally so may not want to be alone. And you need to know that it's okay to be patient and to sit with them in silence if that's what they need, because eventually they will talk to you. There is lots of other advice on the Dying Matters website as well as online for what it means and how you can be a good listener for your friends. But that fits very closely in line with that first bullet point in the Stockland Green Standard, that idea of showing empathy, of being kind and behaving with integrity. If someone is talking to you about the loss of somebody who was very, very special in their life, it's really important that you listen with kindness and that you listen wholeheartedly. No one's going to test you on what has been said, but they are going to expect you to remember, because they're talking to you about something that is incredibly, incredibly precious. We're just going to have a look at this video link here that looks at having empathy for the bereaved. Now, it's really important at this point to stay connected with other people. I know we have social distancing and isolation in place, but it is really important that you find a way to talk to other people. Not just about loss in relation to death. There are other ways that people are feeling a sense of grief and loss at the moment, whether that's a relationship breakdown that started before isolation, or friendships because you just haven't seen each other enough. It's really important to think back on those lovely happy memories and to try to make plans moving forward for how you will reignite those relationships and those connections. National Children's Day UK is on Sunday of this week, and they are really promoting an initiative looking at being connected as human beings. Here is one small child's experience of how he's experiencing loss or feeling about loss at the moment and how he's trying to overcome it.
Some people might be feeling loss in this time, and one loss that I'm feeling is loss of my friends, because I don't get to see them as much and they don't get to see me. One way that we're staying in touch though, I'm staying in touch with my friend Connor by calling and video chatting him. And one thing that Connor taught me how to do is press on your face on some video chats, and then you can select lots of funny things. My favourite is the dragon, where it tells me to open my mouth, and I do, and it turns my face into like a dragon face, and then the more I open, and then if I still have my mouth open, my mouth will end up smoking and breathing fire. And this makes me feel really good and still in touch with my friend Connor.
Another initiative that is out there to help us to stay connected at the moment is in celebration of World Lupus Day, which was last Sunday. Lupus is an immune deficiency disorder that can really affect any part of the body, and that can have devastating effects. And it's really important to raise awareness of illnesses and diseases like this. One way to show support is to take part in their initiative, which is Show Us Your Butterflies. They're asking for butterflies to be drawn or coloured or painted or whichever artistic skill you want to use, and to display it in your windows, much like we did or have done with the NHS rainbows and the teddy bears, to support giving young children something to focus on. I know we're a little bit late, but if you can do this, you can either share your butterflies with Lupus UK online, or you can share them with us at school, and we can recognise the way that you're taking part in staying connected with other people. There are some slides here that talk about not only how to look after yourself during the grief process, but also how to be a really good support network for other people who are feeling loss. I'm going to attach this PowerPoint along or upload it along with the assembly resource, so you can really work your way through and have a look at the different levels of support that are out there. It's really important that you think about actually how school can help you with that idea of maintaining that routine. I know lots of us have let some of those routines slip, including even in my own household, but school really helps with that sense of normality that you are probably just really not feeling at the moment, particularly if you're having to deal with grief, loss or dying. So Kubler-Ross is a lady who brought us this idea of the 5 stages of grief. It's an incredibly recognised model now, and you might well have heard of some of these stages of grief yourself. Again, in the resource that I'm going to upload, there's a much more detailed version that also includes the shock that comes before denial when the initial death happens, and the beyond acceptance, where you're starting to look at actually what you can do moving forward that really allows you to live your life alongside the sense of loss that you're feeling. Now, young children don't understand death in the same way that adults do, and the next couple of slides really help you to recognise signs that might be their way of dealing with loss and with grief, that sense of acting out, their behaviour being different. It's key that we don't punish any changes in behaviour, but we help to recognise and understand what these changes are relating to, and how we can help our loved ones to deal with this sense of loss, particularly if they're just too young. It's really key that you use the words death and dying, and that you don't try to soften the blow, so to speak, by using words that actually just could cause confusion. Telling a small child that their nan has gone away or that we've lost them isn't going to help that small child to recognise that actually they won't ever see their grandparent again, and that they need to work through dealing with that sense of loss. There's another video that I want to share with you here that can really help children to understand what it means when they have to say goodbye to a loved one, particularly in the current situation where they can't physically do that.
Saying goodbye when someone special dies. The world feels very different right now. I can't leave my house. I can't see my friends. I can't go to school. And I am feeling sad. Someone very special to me died yesterday. When my mum told me, she gave me the tightest, longest hug. I knew this special person was in hospital sick, but I didn't think they would die. The doctors and nurses did everything they could to try and make them better. Mum said they tried really hard. I wished I could have gone to the hospital to say goodbye, but I wasn't allowed. Mum and Dad couldn't go either. We were all very sad. They were not alone. The kind nurse sat with them and held their hand. The nurse told them how much we all loved them. I wanted to go to the funeral, but I wasn't allowed to do that either. It was all very confusing. I chatted to my mum and dad, and they helped me feel better. We wrote letters and I drew a picture of the beach. This was their favourite place to be. We cried. I wished I could have hugged them. This was our goodbye. Today we are going to find lots of photos of us having fun together. We are going to make a book and fill it with stories about the times we shared together. I miss them so much. Mum told me that when someone dies, they can never come back. But this doesn't mean that I will stop loving them. They will always be very special to me and will live in my heart forever.
So we've also provided you with some ideas of resources that you can use to support a bereaved child. Some that we use in school are memory jars and memory boxes, but for really small children there's some book titles here for them to be able to read as well, or you to be able to read with them to really start to develop their understanding of what it means to lose a loved one. There's lots of things for you to consider when supporting a child, but the key one, or the key two that I would really want to make reference to, is to reassure them that they're not responsible. Children have a rather large sense of self, not in a negative or an egotistical way, but because their world is very, very small, and therefore they might think that the death is their fault. And it's important that you really emphasize for them that it is a natural part of the process of human life, and that it is nothing to do with them in terms of it being their fault. And also to give them time. They're not going to move on. They're not going to wake up tomorrow and be over it. They will need to have time to learn to manage their life with this loss, exactly in the same way as we do. And it takes time. There isn't a set amount. It's not going to happen in X amount of days. It is specific and it is unique to every single one of us. So really giving them the time to be able to do that. Dying Matters have launched a campaign because they're aware that at this moment, with the current coronavirus pandemic, we will be losing many loved ones long before we were thinking that was going to happen. So they're launching #BeforeTheirTime, again to really promote this sense of talking about death and dying and realizing that it's okay to talk about it. They've also given us a number of resources in the PowerPoint that's going to accompany this assembly, which is this PowerPoint here. These are all hyperlinked to these images, so you can click on these or just go straight to dyingmatters.org. So these are some of their social media access points, again, where they're really trying to promote this sense of talking about it. And there are, of course, other support resources available out there for you. A really good one that I've accessed recently is the Good Grief Trust. They've brought this initiative here where they're really talking about how we can look at grieving in in isolation, the importance being to not suffer in silence. They know that it is really, really key to talk to somebody. And at the moment where you can't be seen by other people and we can't recognise physically whether you are struggling with your emotions, it's really key that you reach out and talk. It can either be to your friends, to your family, to adults at school, or you can call hotlines, helplines that are available, like the COVID-19 bereavement one here. If you are going to reach out and talk to somebody online, please, please, please use a reputable organisation. Don't just talk to a stranger, because it's important that we do, of course, stay safe online. The final video that I'm going to leave you with is from an organisation called Winston's Wish. Winston's Wish supports adults and children who have lost either their parents or their child, obviously on the adverse side of it.
I remember she had a heart attack.
But I woke up to just find paramedics running up the stairs and things like that.
I remember going into the hospital, still not knowing what to expect, and just seeing him lying there. It was I couldn't think of anything to describe it. It was just heartbreaking seeing.
But my dad went in the ambulance and they drove her to the hospital, but she didn't make it.
When the paramedic went in, he was just lying on the floor, so I got like, what's happened? And I went in and the woman said, we've tried everything we can and we've done exactly what we do if it was at A&E or if we're in the hospital right now, but we're gonna have to stop. We've tried to like stable him and get him back, but there's nothing we can do anymore.
In the morning I came downstairs and he sat me down and he just said, last night your mum died. Sorry.
And I put like something on Facebook, and then I went into school and it just felt like everyone was sort of watching me, if you know what I mean.
It's kind of horrible because it's like a massive elephant in the room. Everyone knows about it, but no one says anything about it.
The first thing that came into my head was that everything was going to change.
They can't understand how big of like a gap it leaves in your life unless it happens to you. Like, a dad is a big thing, especially for like a boy, if you know what I mean. Like, it can be for a girl too, but for like that man in your life not to be there anymore, that you can't go and speak to him about like men things or anything, it's hard.
These feelings were coming into my head and memories, and I would get flashbacks and it would make me really upset seeing her face.
Kind of the main way I wanted to go through Winston's Wish is to meet new people and kind of connect with them.
I was so nervous, but as soon as I came in, there was these friendly, smiling people, and they opened their hearts.
There's another boy who lost his dad and he was 13. And it was sort of the same way really. Like, he just died in his sleep, and it was that you can relate to him, you can talk to him about like the same things, and he was sort of feeling the same way that I had like felt. So it was really nice just to talk to him about it.
We got a piece of clay and we pretended it was our feelings, and then we threw it at a wall.
It gave me people to talk to. Like, I could talk to anyone like I met here about it, and I could just get it out instead of sitting at home thinking in my head. It was good.
They have completely changed the way that I look at how my mum passed away. Instead of looking at it as a sad way, I can now look at it as a happy way, but still be quite upset that she's gone.
If you did Winston's Wish, don't feel like they were going to tell you the right way to grieve. They'll support you whichever way you want to grieve.
Winston's Wish helps. Go talk to people, that's what I did, and it helps so much.
Life goes on.
The final thought that I want to leave you with is that we are here, we are ready for you to talk to us whenever you are ready to do so, whether that's that you are going to call your form tutor or email your form tutor, or just contact one of the staff in B2A or your pastoral leader. Any member of us at the school are waiting and are ready to be here for you if you need us.